lead gen plan you've ever had, because that's a fun title, and it'll be true. So, but before I do that, any pressing challenges that anybody's facing that this would be a helpful time to talk through? Any challenges anybody's had in their business or lead generation or whatever, that would be beneficial for us to have a quick conversation about before we dive in?
I would have something, but I don't want to for a topic for a future. I know we're talking lead gen, but I feel like, I don't know if everybody else's market are the same, but it seems like every transaction it just has added layers of challenge, more so than accustomed to the last few years. And so maybe how we can overcome some of those challenges with our customers and clients in getting to the closing table. I'm noticing a lot more cold feet than I ever have in my career.
Yeah, I was going to say challenges. How, Jezreel? Is that what you mean? The client's emotional state?
Yeah, the emotion. Yes, exactly that.
What have you seen as the biggest reasons? What are their reasonings? Does that make sense?
Fear, economic fear. Every time that we're making, that somebody's making a move, it is typically precipitated by a big life change, marriage, birth, death, divorce, job change. So there's already a lot of emotion into it. And I mean, I think just reminding ourselves how we can get them through that and using our faith to help strengthen them through that. Because I feel like we tend to attract clients who are, at least I feel I do, and I'm blessed in that way, who have some faith base and how to connect with them and get them through those challenges and hurdles. So once we have them and we do repeat business with them and we form that relationship, how to stay connected with them through the process.
What do you think so far? Because I'll open it up to everybody, but just continue with you, Jezreel. What do you think? What would be your response if someone else had asked that question? How do we help them through the emotions and the challenges that they're facing, these clients?
I know, for me, the number one thing, of course, to do is to start with prayer. Praying for their heart and their peace of mind, and for God to send either someone or some circumstance to meet them where they're at and help them, to get through the process. I think just drawing on experience. I know we're probably all at different experience levels. I think, I really feel like I like the topic of how you call this serving, not selling, because that's really what it feels like. And sometimes it feels like we're more of a counselor than a salesperson. So drawing on the experiences maybe that we have in counseling people through our personal life and counseling them through our career too.
That's good. Any other thoughts? What do you guys think? And how you would help someone through? Because I agree. I think the past few years have been more emotions. I mean, even statistically, I don't know the number off the top of my head, but the reality of how many deals have fallen apart is significantly higher than what it normally had been. Certainly that's through the emotions of what's going on. How do we navigate that? Go ahead, Brian. Did you raise your hand, buddy?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to raise it twice.
Oh, it's okay. You're eager. I like that. Yes, keep raising.
Jezreel, just curious, have you happened to watch Garrett's first course in the community? Have you gone through it yet?
I've started it, yes.
Okay. I just I knew it was there, and I just never, like, I kind of started it several months ago and then I didn't finish, and then I just worked through it and finished it. And I mean, just to remind you, maybe it's not that helpful, but I just was so stinking blessed by Garrett, your approach, and I think people really benefit from that, right? So, like, just taking that attitude of just praying for them, asking them a lot of questions, and the more we draw them out, the more they feel like they can trust us. I know that I just left a job where the sales training I got was, like, the best way to present ourselves as a trusted advisor is by asking a lot of questions. And so I think just the mere act of asking a lot of questions can help them fill in the gaps that they are with someone that has their best interests in heart. And
Right.
so to me, like that's the first thing I think of is taking that come alongside approach, which is not new. Garrett just mentioned that, you mentioned it too, but um, that's just something that I feel like is really useful. I actually just got, by God's grace, I just got a client referred to me by somebody up there in Virginia,
Awesome.
and and they have, you know, I had almost a 2-hour meeting with them through Zoom, and it was, when I got the call, I was so stinking encouraged because I felt like the Lord was able to use me to assure them that everything will be okay, and not because I told them everything will be okay, but because we had that dialogue, we had that kind of like, hey, let's get to know each other. Let me ask you, what are you concerned about? Let me know who you are as people. And then we capped off the meeting by me just praying for them. And I felt like they were so um comforted by that approach as a Christian, being able that we are enabled and empowered to do that by the Lord. So I don't know. I mean, I hear you. I'm not in the business actively right now, but I think there's a lot that can get solved through just trusting and being direct with people. Like I had a client one time that the wife was, she was pregnant, due soon. It was their first home purchase. He was an engineer, and so he was nitpicking every little thing, and she was getting worried, and so like that they weren't going to close in time before they gave birth. And so I was able to, like, over a long period of time, realize, wait a minute, what needs to happen here is this guy needs some directness. So I pulled him aside and told him, like, listen, buddy, you got to man up. Your wife, like, you qualified for a beautiful home. You guys will look at a lot. You need to man up, and we're going to come up with a plan here, and we're going to find the right one in this, by this deadline. And, we came up with a plan, and it worked great. And they were really grateful for that leadership. So sometimes it requires some directness, but other times it requires just coming alongside.
That's good.
Thank you. And I appreciate it. It's just nice to sometimes to be reminded that there are other agents who are experiencing the same thing, and that connecting with people will lead us to further leads in our lead generation down the road, because like you've talked about so much and hit on is the referral part of our business and how important that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good. Any other thoughts? Those are great thoughts, Brian. Cool. It's a great question, Jezra. Yeah, I think, and I'm glad you hit on it, Brian. The only other thing I would say is we address it head on. I mean, I name emotions a lot, right? So I will say, it looks like, I was talking to someone this morning, say, it looks like you're feeling a lot of fear. Is that true? And they're like, yeah. Like, well, tell me what that is. What is the fear there? I think it's necessary to name those things, right? The hardest part is when we just either try to ignore it, or they try to ignore it, or they try to push through, or whatever, but to just address it head on. And like, let's just talk about what that is. And, again, I think what you described too, Brian, is spot on. Like, sometimes you just got to say the hard things. And as believers, especially, we need to speak truth and not be afraid of what truth could result in. Right, for that individual person. And so calling them to something greater, especially if they're believers, but even if they're not, I definitely think people appreciate, we counsel way more than we write offers, right? I mean, just 100%. And the reality of being able to engage in their emotions is a skill set. And Jezra, you probably shouldn't be saying to the husband, you need to man up, dude. Right. That would probably be inappropriate. But you can call Brian and he will on the phone, and you guys could talk about it. But it is the reality of just engaging the real problems. And it's not about a house. It's about something else. Right. And I think speaking truth, being honest, like you said, Brian, asking a lot of questions. We have a client right now who is $850,000 waterfront property. My first client ever, 10 years ago. He's my first client ever. And he's like a big Marine. He's tough. We're opposite. He's like 6'5" and jacked, and I'm a circle. I'm the letter zero. I'm the number 0. And he's got this beautiful house, and he doesn't love this offer or whatever. And so, my approach to him was, bro, just flat out tell me, what is it that you don't like? Because from my perspective, this is good, and this is what we talked about. and let him share it with me, and then say, man, and this is a guy who would never say he's afraid, but say, man, what's the fear that you have here? Because I can hear it. So tell me what it is. And he said it. And then we were able to navigate through, I feel like I negotiate against my own clients more than anybody else, ultimately, of saying, like, you can't react like that, bro. We're going to lose this deal. So let's talk about what's fair and reasonable and honest. And I want you to get the most out of this too. That's why I'm trying to actually have this hard conversation with you, so we figure this out together. And so I think there's a lot of that, and us not being afraid provides a lot of value for people, to just say, why, if the doctor knew that I was sick but didn't want to tell me, why am I going to that doctor? That doesn't make sense. I'm here to tell you what I think is true. That's the point. If not, you should get somebody else, right? So I think we've got to be less afraid and not rude, but truthful, and just be honest and address it head on. Does that mean it's going to be easier? Probably not. Right. It's still going to be hard. And there's a lot of problems and challenges that people face right now. But I think addressing it head on helps. And like you guys have both said, just encourage and pray for them along the way. Cool thing is, if the Lord wants them to buy the house, they will. If he doesn't, they won't, so that is what it is. The hardest clients, in my opinion, are the ones that are like, the Lord told me I'm going to get this at $100,000 discount. You're like, well, if the Lord wants you to have this house, why don't you make a good offer? That's what I want you to do. Stop telling me you're going to get a great deal on it. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, good question, Jezreel. Any other questions before we dive into this? And Connie, if you can hear me, I was asking earlier, are you feeling okay? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah, I'm feeling better, moving slow, but feeling better.
Yeah, good. I'm glad. Welcome
you.
back. Yeah. Well, let's dive into this. At any point, stop and ask questions. I want this to be engaging. I want this to be helpful, right? If I just talk, it may or may not be helpful. So feel free to interrupt me at any point. You guys can see this, I hope. Yeah, okay. So we're just going to talk about what's the easiest lead gen plan you've ever had, because I like things that are easy and simple. That's why I work with Dave. No. That was meaner than I meant it to be. That was supposed to be funny. Sorry, buddy. I love you. That's awful. I did whatever. Okay. I'm going to ask a question and I want feedback on it. Sorry, buddy. I want feedback on it, or I want you guys to give me your opinion. What's the best lead gen plan? Anybody? Unmute. Tell me. What's the best lead? The one you'll do. Good answer, Steve. Who else?
The one that feels most natural to you.
Okay. Okay, what else? You guys agree? Thumbs up. Yep, cool. Okay.
Buying Zillow leads for $70,000 a month.
Get out. Somebody kick him out of this group. Yeah, I agree. So the ones that you'll do, and the one that's most natural to you, 100%. Who feels like they've got that nailed down perfect? Well, let me ask this. Let me ask a better question. Put a 1 in the chat if you have this plan already made. I know we've been talking about plans for a while, but you have a plan just in general. You already have a written plan for the entire year. Put a 1 in the chat if you do. Okay, we got some work to do. Okay, that's fine. That's why we're here. Okay. All right, that's going to shift where I'm going to go. All right, so here's what I'm going to suggest then, okay? Because I'm not, we've been talking about planning your lead gen and all the different pieces you can do, and working through that together and having it written down, all this stuff. What I want to do today is hand you a plan that is the easiest thing you could ever do. And I'm going to explain how you execute it, and it is super, super easy. And I would say to you, this is going to be a B plan. An A plus, an A to an A plus plan is, once you understand it and there is rhythm to this, is then going to create something that is more authentic and natural to you. Okay. And I'll explain what that means. The challenge of I was meeting with someone this morning and she wants to get into real estate. And I said, the truth about real estate and succeeding in real estate is it's not hard, it's not hard, but the consistency is challenging, right? It's simple, but difficult to execute. And so because we are not creatures of discipline and habit. And neither am I, right? I'm trying to learn the discipline and the habit and the things that need to happen. Excuse me. Most lead gen plans that I'm aware of are what I call the kitchen sink. You're like, we've got a bunch of leftover groceries. We're getting new groceries. We've got to throw everything in, make dinner. Like, figure that out, right? Let's just put everything in and hope that what comes out is good. Not going to do that anymore. So I'm going to give you something super, super simple to execute. So we've talked about this before. If you've watched the e-course, if not, go back and check it out. But I'm going to go a little bit more in depth into this, but I'm going to tell you what it is, and it's going to be super easy. Okay. Every one of you can do this 100,000%. And if you do this, your business will be better than if you do nothing. Okay. So here's what this looks like. Super simple. This is a relational lead gen. I'm going to tell you exactly what you should expect in terms of your production and what that looks like. Okay. You're going to do 12 mailers, 12 emails, 4 calls, text, video, text. We'll walk through that. 4 notes, Popeyes or Amazon gifts. Talk about that. And 4 events / coffee. Okay. And events is typically where people freak out. So we're going to break this down one at a time. I'll give everybody a second if you're writing down. So 12 mailers, 12 emails, 4 calls, text, video, text, 4 notes, Popeyes or Amazon, 4 events or coffees. So to help, you're going to average around $50 per person in your database. That's all we're talking about. Okay. This is simple. It's cheap. And the whole premise of this system is it's built on the understanding, right? The reason I think people spend so much money on Zillow, or the reason I think people spend too much money in general on their lead generation, is they misunderstand the value that we provide. The value that we provide is the fact that we're willing to show up consistently. That's it, right? Who do people refer? The people that they're friends with, the people they know, like, and trust. Trust doesn't come from me throwing a $50,000 party. Trust comes from me showing up every month, right? Trust comes from being the only one in their life that's consistently asking how they're doing. And I wish that weren't true, but it is. Even more so post-COVID, right? If you're on, what is the #1 cause of depression in America, supposedly? Instagram, right? I don't know how they figured that out, but supposedly that's true. So does social media actually fulfill the need to be connected with humans? No. I would say it actually takes away from that. It creates a false sense of community and connection. So stop focusing on how do I do the splashiest, most interesting things I can do for people, and start thinking about how do I just show up, because that's what they need. No one is showing up. So, okay, that's what we're talking about. The simplest truth of your business is if you show up often, your business will be fine. That's what it is, right? So I'll break this down. And again, I know I've talked about this a billion times. So ask a question. Sean said Zillow. Yeah, kick him out too. Why are all these Zillow people here today, Dave? We got to get these Zillow people out. Right. So the reality is this, right? This is the simplest plan you could ever do. And the beauty of it is it's already in the school. If you're part of the school, which all of you are, let me find out where it is. In classroom, there's a classroom tab, which is where the e-courses are. But there's a monthly touch plan. Actually, we haven't initially launched that yet. I'll write that down and make sure that we do. There will be a touch plan in there that will give you, here's the mailer you can send. It'll give you, here's the email you can send. It'll tell you, here's the touch you should make and what to say, right? I want this to be as easy as possible. This is about your willingness to just execute. Dave, do you mind writing that down for me? Because I don't know where to write it right now. Just like I need to make sure I make those touch plans go live today. Thank you. So you'll have that. All of this will be in there. You just got to press play. Okay, that's all we're talking about here. Now, we spent last call, and if you weren't on it, go check it out in the resources in the training replays as a tab in the school. We spent last time talking about how do you qualify your database, right? So we're building layers on top of this. You got to start with your qualified database, make sure the right people are in there. And then you layer on top of that a really simple lead generation system. So when I'm talking about this system and this process, this is going to, every single person in your database is going to get these touches, right? They're going to get a mailer every month. Those are super low value. Stop freaking out about what it's going to be. Just send something. People open their mail over the trash can today. So they're not going to take it home and frame it, right? They're going to open it and throw it away. That's what I do with most of my mail. So it's fine. Just let them see your name and you're there. You said you're going to show up, so you do. Emails. Emails is a low value approach as well. It's going to be something that is similar to what you mailed them, just in case they want to go any deeper. Here's some more information. It's about showing up. The key is, how do I personally make connections? And that's what this bottom part of this is. Okay. Before I move off, any questions on that? This is your system for the entire year. That's it. This is it. This is your whole lead gen plan. Okay. Any questions on that before we go any deeper? Raise your hand, unmute, anything like that. Or put in the chat and Dave can read the chat and let me know. No? Okay. Oh, yes. Go ahead, Jezreel.
One of the questions I've been wanting to ask is, when you say like the Amazon stuff, I mean, obviously we don't just want to send random things. We want it to be something useful. What types of things are you generally sending?
Yep. We'll get to that. Great question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
No, of course. Yep. Anybody else? Okay. So mailers, I'm going to make this literally as simple as possible. Mailers, I use Wise Pelican. And to send like 200 of them, it's like $120. You maybe don't have that many, right? If you have 100 people in your database, they're all married, you send 50. So I don't know what that is, $30, whatever. You can partner with a mortgage lender, add them on there. Guess what? They'll pay for it, or they'll pay half of it. There's no rule, side note. Any mortgage lender that you've ever talked to, if you talk to them about partnering with you in these events or marketing, whatever, there's no rule that says they can only pay half. They just tell you that so they don't have to pay all of it. But you should be talking to lenders like, hey, I'm going to be sending out mailers consistently to 100 people. There's marketing value to that. Do you want to be on the back of this and pay for it? Right? There's all kinds of stuff like that. Maybe we need to talk about that one day too. But mailers, Wise Pelican. It's a postcard, and it is already formatted in the touch plan, so you can just upload it. Boom, there it is. And what I like about Wise Pelican is I don't know how to format the way they want me to format their Excel spreadsheet, whatever. So I'm just send them. I mean, my assistant does it now, but like, here's our database list. Just format it how it needs to be formatted and upload it for me. And then they just do it. Right. And then cool, here it is. Boom. They're, I ordered them and they're ready to go. I'd order these on the 25th so that hopefully they arrive on the 1st. So what's the first thing I would do? On the 25th, I'd put in my calendar for the rest of the year, whatever you need, block off an hour on the 25th, or I don't know if that's a Sunday, don't do it then. But, on the 25th, I'd block off 1 hour and say mailers for next month. Just do that. And what do you need to do? Come to the school, grab the mailer we created, upload it into Wise Pelican, send them your list. They'll upload it for you. Boom, you're done. Okay. 1 hour. That's it. Can everybody afford to spend 1 hour a month? Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you can't. Oh, Steve, you are very busy. Okay. All right. Makes sense. Now, email. How do I do emails? I would do one of two things. I would either just send it from my email with BCC, everybody. That's really easy. Or I also use Send Pulse. Super cheap, really easy. You go in there, you upload your list, you create a template, right? And so here's the template for what I want the email to look like, which we literally will say, here's what the body of the email should say, and here's a little flyer to include, right? Super easy. And then you just click go. Send Pulse takes you maybe an hour. Worst case scenario, again, what I did for many, many years, literally from my Gmail, right? My Garrett at maroongroupva.com. I would BCC everybody, just copy and paste their emails, and I'd send it. Like, why does it need to cost anything, right? That is an hour. I would do that on the 15th every month. Okay. So what would I do? I'd go right now on the 15th or whatever day is a work day. I'd block off 1 hour and say, send email out. Right? Is that easy? Yeah, that's easy. Okay. Everybody tracking so far. You have spent 2 hours to execute the majority of the system. You spent 2 hours for a whole month. Pretty easy. Okay. Then in January, I'll just go ahead and tell you January, April, let's see, May, June, July, and October. You can do one of the following: call, text, or what I prefer is a video text. So, and this is going to go to every single person in your database. So what I would suggest for you is you go ahead, pick, depends on how you work, right? The way I work is in batches, meaning I don't personally operate well in like an hour every single day. I operate in like, I'll do 4 hours this day, 4 hours that day, and 4 hours that day. And what do? If I'm sending texts, I'm literally pulling up Netflix. I'm watching it while I'm sending text messages. Maybe I shouldn't admit that, but I just did. That's not very Christian of me. It's only Jesus shows, which there are probably none on Netflix. So I need to watch something else. Okay, stop talking. All right, so everybody in my database, and I would pick, if I'm you, depending on how many people, maybe you're going to pick 3 days and block, I don't know how long it will take you, block 4 hours on those 3 days in, well, we already passed January basically, but April, July, October. Just go do it. Just block it. That's what we're talking about. And yeah, I'll come to you in a sec, Steve. So now when you show up, it's already there. Again, the key to consistency from my experience is I have to have it in there already or I won't do it. If I show up in April, I'm like, oh, wait, what do I need to do? I mean, my lead agent, right, Jesse, who I've drilled this in him over and over and over again, on Monday, the 27th, he asked me, wait, what are we doing for Legion this month? I'm like, bro, what do you mean? I've been telling you, why is it not in your calendar? All of this stuff, right? It's easy to get off course. It's easier now because we're less busy. It's going to be harder as we pick up. So go ahead and pick those days and just show up. Worst case scenario, it's April, whatever, 18th, and you picked 4 hours and you blocked it off, but something happened. You're sick or whatever. Your kid needs something, whatever it is. Cool. Drag it to a different day. That's it. You can't delete it. You can drag it. All right. Go ahead, Steve.
So do you do everybody in your database?
Correct. When I talk about this plan, it's every person in the database.
So everybody in your database is in January, April, July, and October.
Correct. Everybody's getting a mailer. This whole thing is everyone. Okay. Everybody, and I'm getting to the notes on Popeye's part and the events and coffee. But yes, this is for everybody. Everybody's going to get everything, right? And here's why. Initially, because if you haven't been working a system consistently enough or a good one, then you don't know who are the referral sources in there. So you need to mine everyone, if you will, to figure out who's who. And then you can say, oh, this is an A+ kind of person. They should get more, right? Or this person I thought was going to give me a bunch of referrals. They don't. Maybe they should come down here and be a C ranking, and that's fine. I'm just going to spend, less time and energy on them, whatever it is. You probably don't know yet. And so I would say throw out a bunch of seeds, water it, all of it, all the time, and see what happens. And then we have more information. We're data collecting right now. So good question. So, excuse me. For me, I do video text. I hate being on the phone, so I don't want to call anyone. Plus, it's really hard to protect your time. But if you do want to call people, because if that's how your people communicate, I would call them. But here's the dialogue I would say at the very beginning of the call. Hey, Dave, whatever. I guess you wouldn't say it's Garrett. They have caller ID. But hey, Dave, I had a quick minute before my next appointment. I just wanted to call and check in to see how you're doing. How's the family? Right? I'm giving the expectation up front that I'm going to cut the call in like 3 minutes. Your next appointment is another call. So it's honest. but I can't be on the phone for an hour with everybody, right? So you've got to set an expectation up front, right? I just wanted to check on you. And I promise you, it's as effective to talk to them for 3 minutes than it is for an hour. Now, if they're like, man, there's something crazy going on, you got to ask the Lord to give you the wisdom and space and discernment to say, like, maybe we should actually talk, you know? But in general, protect yourself. That's why I don't do calls anymore, because it takes a long time. I shifted to a video text. Texts are read on average within 5 minutes, 95% of the time. So they're going to see it, right? So now what I do with a video text is I used to, and you still can, I used to record an individual video for every person. So now if it was a husband and wife, right? I'd say, hey, Dave and Paula, you know, whatever. Happy January. I hope you guys had an amazing New Year's. You're excited about this year. I hope I get to see you at our upcoming event, our upcoming movie morning in March. You know, I would love to hear how you guys are doing. Look forward to talking to you soon. Boom. Send it out. Okay. Now, having events, right? All of this works together. So just track with me here. I would just do it like that, but it would take a while because I'm doing individual videos for everybody. How do we do videos? I pull it up on my phone. I open a text message. I click record and boom, there it is. That's it. Right. And just send it. I don't need systems. I don't need bomb. I don't need whatever. You don't need to spend money. I hate spending money. Use what you already have. Okay. Now I just record a broad video. Say, hey, I hope you guys are doing great. You had a great New Year's, you know, whatever. Again, I'd love to see you. I'd love to catch up and see you at our March 8th movie morning. Hope you can make it. Would love to hear how things are going. Look forward to talking to you soon. And then I'm going to send that one video to every person, right? But I'm going to use their name. So this way, the reason I did that is I wanted them to see my face, hear my voice, but I also wanted them to have something to read as well, because I know they're going to read in 95% of the time in 5 minutes. They're at work. They're probably not watching my video. Excuse me. So then I would text and say, hey, Dave and Paula, hope you guys are doing great. Just wanted to get a quick video to you. Hope you guys had an amazing New Year. Look forward to seeing you soon. Boom. Attach the video. There it is. Okay. So I send them a text and a video, and I can knock out, you know, this shouldn't take you a long, you'll get better at it, but this shouldn't take you a long time. I mean, I can knock this out with 270 people in like 6 hours. Okay. Now you're just there, just boom, 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 but it's really simple and easy. Okay. Copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. Questions on that? Easy, easy, easy. If it's complex, don't do it. If it's not simple enough, make it simpler. Easy, easy, easy. One video, boom. Hey, use their names. Use their names in the text. Hey, Connie, boom. Right? Over and over and over. Make sense? Cool. I'm just going to keep going unless you guys stop me, which feel free to stop me. Okay? All right, so I personally do video text. Then the second month of the quarter, so that's February, May, June, July, August, September, and November. These are going to be notes or Popeyes, whoops, or Amazon. So here's what I'll tell you. Every person is getting a note. Some people are getting a Popeye gift or an Amazon gift. Okay. Not everyone gets a Popeye. Not everybody gets an Amazon gift. I have 270 people. When I was doing Popeyes, I would do it to 25. If you have 100 people in your database, I'd do it to 10. Okay. That's how I structured this. This was a number of people. And then Amazon, the way I do it now is this is a specific dollar amount. And I'll explain that. I'll come back. So every person's going to get a handwritten note. Okay. So the handwritten note, again, this is by far the most time consuming month of the quarter, because writing that many notes takes a long time, but it's worth it. Less than 0.7% of mail today is a handwritten note. You will open it if you get a handwritten note. Now, the key is you have to hand address it. I don't care if you stamp it for the return label, but hand address their address. If you don't, they might not open it because they're like, what is this junk? They printed a label and it's not real. Okay. Hand address it. Take the time to do it. It's worth it. I promise you. These are emotional deposits. It goes back to what Jezrea asked. If Jezrea is walking them through a difficult transaction and she's built up years of checking on them, caring about them, writing them notes, telling them how grateful she is for their friendship and support, you better believe when she asks them the hard question, they know it comes from a place of care and genuine honesty and trust, right? It's all of this is building up. It's all building towards the same thing. Okay. So everybody's going to get a handwritten note. Takes time. So if it's me, again, I work in batches. My hand gets tired, but I would take 5 days and I would block off 4 hours each. So that's a 20-hour month. We're talking about a month, right? In the month of May, when it comes to notes, you have 20 hours for the month of notes. You have 1 hour for mailers, 1 hour for emails. We're only at 22 hours for the entire month. Okay. Still, this is not a lot of time. So I'd go ahead and block this off. What do you need to do? Go to your calendar, May or February, May, September, November, boom, block it off. There's 4 hours. Do that 5 different times. You can't delete it. You can, what did I say? You can't delete it. You can drag it. Drag it to a different day if you don't do it. Okay. And the notes in the touch plan, it's already in there, but it's super simple. Whatever it is, right? It's, February. Hey, in the month of Valentine's, I want you to know how much I genuinely appreciate your friendship and support of me and my business. Sincerely, whatever. Dave. Okay, just boom. In the note card is the only time I really ever talk about real estate, right? I might say, as always, if you have friends or family thinking of making a move, I'd love to help them. I don't talk about it very often, but in a note, I might drop a reminder. Okay. But simple. Again, don't be complex. If you want to be more specific, great. Write a PS. Literally the way my process works, just because I got to write so many, is I'm writing the same thing. I know how many I got to write. So let's say I got to write 200, writing the same thing without a name on it 200 times. Here's the body. Here's the body. Here's the body of the note. Boom, 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 boom. Then I go back through. I'm writing their names down while I'm addressing the envelope on the outside. And if there's something that comes to mind, or I saw, whatever, you just had a baby, I'm going to say, P.S., congratulations on the baby. Right. But make it easy. Simple scales, simple gets done. Complex doesn't. And so if you're going to I got to rewrite a note for every single person every time, it's not going to happen. That's just not how it works. Right. Again, this is not an A+ lead gen plan. This is a B plan that you can actually do, which is better than an A+ plan that you won't. So we're building a foundation. Okay. So I would write those notes. And then the Popeyes or Amazon gifts, and Jezra, you asked about this. So this is how I structured it. Okay. So if you have 100 people, maybe say do 10% of your database should get a Popeye. Maybe that's an easy way to do it. So you got 200 people, you're going to do 20 of these. A Popeye gift is if you're going to show up at their house, my opinion, and in the monthly touch plan, it has an idea and a suggestion for you. A Popeye gift needs to be less than $2. Don't stop spending money. You're misunderstanding the point. They just need you to show up. They just need to know that you care. That's really how this works, right? Excuse me. If Dave bought a $50 gift for somebody who was in my database and I've been nurturing and caring for them for years, doesn't matter. They're working with me, right? Like, Dave, I appreciate it, but that's not going to change anything, right? They find you on Zillow. Cool. Garrett's the guy that's been showing up for us for years. Why would we ever go somewhere else? So my Popeye gifts are less than $2. That was always my plan. So because the real gift is that you showed up. And what does that mean? The most impactful one I've ever done was literally a 30-cent chapstick. And I put it in a little, I don't even know if I put it in a box or I'm a dude. I don't know how to make it look nice. I don't know if I put it in anything, but I printed out a little tag and it said something like, don't let your friends get chapped by a bad agent. Right? Like literally that's all it said. And I tied it on there and I dropped off a chapstick at their house. And here's how the Popeye works for me. Again, you're setting expectation. I would schedule for me 2 days worth of Popeyes, maybe 5-6 hours. It depends on how far you got to drive. Jezra, I know you talked about, you have a long way to go between clients. So you just knock it out. You figure out how long it's going to take. You plan it out. And when I'm on the way to, let's say the next person I'm going to go see is Dave, about 10 minutes or so before I go see Dave, I'm going to say, hey, Dave, I happen to be right in your area. Was wondering if I could swing by and just say a quick hello. Just text him. He's probably not going to respond. for me, that's okay. Like, I don't have time to see everybody, right? If he doesn't respond, which is most likely, I'm going to go to his door. I'm going to drop the gift on his doorstep. I'm going to take a picture and I'm going to send it to him. Say, man, sorry I missed you. Was hoping to see you. Dropped off something silly for you at the door, right? Just thinking about you. Just acknowledge that, like, yeah, I just dropped off chapstick, right? This is not something you're going to be excited about. Though people were like, man, I need chapstick. Thank you for bringing that to me. The point is, that's not the gift. The gift is, hey, I came out of my way to come see you. And then you go to the next person. Now, if they are there and they're like, yes, I'd love to see you, come swing by and say hello, then your response should be, hey, that's awesome. I'm headed to another appointment, which again is another Popeye. It's on your schedule. I'm headed to another appointment. Would love to say hi real quick. Depending on where you live, for me, I'd pull in the driveway. I'd leave my car on and my driver's side door open. I'd stand at the doorway. And they'd say, come on in, come on in. I say, hey, I wish I could. I would love to see you, but I got to get somewhere. But tell me, how are you guys doing? Right? Talk to them for a few minutes. Say, I brought you the most exciting gift you've ever seen in your life. And they would look at it and they would laugh and they would take it, give them hugs and be out of there in 5 minutes. Right? You set the expectation. I'm not saying don't go be relational. I'm saying I've had the experience where I spent 2 hours in someone's house and I didn't mean to. And that meant I didn't get to anything else. Right? If you feel like you need to chat with them, then great. Guess what comes up the month after Popeyes? Coffee. So you get to say, man, I don't have time right now. I'll reach out to you because let's schedule a coffee. I'd love to sit down and talk more in depth. Right? That's the point. But you are on a schedule. You get those done. Okay. Amazon gifts for me is different. And I shifted to that because it was better leverage on my time. Honestly, and I could be more intentional with what I gifted them. Now, I don't know that I would advise Amazon gifts. The truth of the matter is, if you haven't done this for very long, I've done this system for 9 years, and I've done every month forever for 9 years in a row. And so because of that, I think I have some wiggle room to shift it. But if I'm you and you haven't done this, I wouldn't do Amazon gifts. I would do the work of showing up at their house with a gift. Feels like it will waste of time, but drive around and listen to a podcast and learn something, right? That's a great use of your time. And then drop off a gift for somebody at their doorstep. Go out of your way to do it. I would do that first. I wouldn't think about Amazon gifts right now. Your job is not to leverage the relationship. Your job right now is to show up for the relationship, okay? But if for whatever reason you feel like you need to, or you can't get out there and do Popeye gifts, what I would do is I would set some sort of budget, whatever you feel like you can afford, whatever. Let's say you say, okay, this month, instead of Popeye gifts, I'm going to spend $75 on Amazon. Then you get to pick whoever you want, right? You could spend $75 on one person. I don't know that I would suggest that. You could spend $25 on 3 people. You get to go look. What I do for Amazon is I go look at the people I want to give gifts to. I decide who that is. And I look at what's been going on in their life and I try to send them something really specific. So I just sent one out. I know it's not February, but I just sent one out and they had their daughter, their 4-year-old daughter had a birthday like 3 weeks ago and I didn't know. So I sent them a gift here's what I did. I ordered them a gift, right? I saw that she loves, I forget what she loves, Frozen or whatever. So I sent them a gift from Amazon to their house and I screenshot the gift that I just ordered and I sent it to them and said, hey, for your daughter, I'm sorry I missed her birthday. I hope it was amazing. Know that I love you guys. I sent her something. Hope she enjoys it. Right. So not only is it a reminder there, boom, and their answer was always like, wow, that's so sweet. You didn't have to. But then when it shows up, it's another thing. Right. I get 2 out of 1 because who doesn't love an Amazon gift on their or Amazon box on their front porch? Now in Sholo, Brianna, I don't know that you have Amazon. Right. It's maybe the one place they can't get to. So maybe you got to use Walmart or who knows what you would have. Not funny. Okay. You guys are all on mute. So I can't tell if you think it's funny. So that's awkward. So I'm sure you have Amazon. You have Amazon?
Yeah, we actually have a warehouse up here now too.
Ooh, fancy. Showing off now. That's fantastic. You're like, I can get everything in 2 hours. And I can't.
That's probably where your gift came from, Garrett.
What'd you say?
That's probably where your gift came from, her warehouse.
You're probably not wrong. So that's how I do Amazon gifts. Okay. Screenshot. Here's what I got you. Boom. There it is. Make sense? Yeah. If it doesn't, stop me. Okay. So there it is. If you're new to this, focus on Popeyes. Okay. This is your busiest month. 4 times a year, I'm going to ask you to spend like 35 hours in the month. I know that's a lot. I'm going to ask you to spend one of your 4 weeks trying to build your business. That's once every quarter. Okay. You can do it. I promise. And then, so go ahead and put that in your calendar. March, April, May, June, September, and December. These are going to be client event and coffees. Okay. So the key is this. The third quarter or third month of the quarter is I want to see my people in person, face to face. Okay. That's the goal. So that's what a client event is for. Everyone gets invited. So it is the best leverage on your time you can ever have. I need to see everybody at once. How am I going to do that? I'm not going to go have dinner with everybody. And if you have a super small database, like do that for now, right? But then as it grows, you can't do that. So client event for me is I'm going to, number one, get a bunch of touches by inviting them to something fun. And then I'm going to try to see everybody all at once, right? Simplest thing I can do. And if my best / favorite people, you might not know who your best referral source is yet, right? We're learning. But if those people who you feel like are primed to give you referrals can't come to the event, then you get to say, man, I'd love to catch up with you. Can we grab coffee, right? Sometime this week or sometime next week or whatever it is. Okay. So I would aim for 10 of these per quarter. So if you have to bleed your coffee into, whatever into July, fine, that's okay. But I'd be scheduling them in this month. Okay. So let's talk about client events. This is where I hear the most pushback. Because most people make them too complex. That's the problem, I think, is we complicate an event and therefore we never do it. Okay. What I want you to do is make the simplest thing possible. Here's your job. Your job at an event is to see everyone. Whoops. To be a host. Your job is not to be a coordinator. Your job is not to put all the tables up, though you might have to. Your job is not to do all the stuff behind the scenes. Your job is to see people. So with that in mind, pick events where you can see people without doing a lot of work. Okay. What do I mean? Here's my 4 events in the year. We have a movie morning. So we rent out a movie theater and we play a movie. Why? Because again, I've done this. This is my 10th year doing events and I'm learning. It needs to be as easy, simple. So what do? Guys, we're having an event. We run it out of movie theater. For us, we have 156 seats. And this is the movie we're playing, RSVP, right? My only job that day is I set up a table in the movie theater, of course, with their permission, set up a table at the movie theater, have them come check in, give them their tickets, give them their little snack pack ticket, and then I collect Google reviews while we're there. So I also have a piece of paper and it says, scan this right here, leave us a 5-star review, show it to me, right? So they just scan it. Boom. Garrett is awesome. Show me your 5-star review. And then I write your name down. You're entered to win a $100 Amazon gift card, right? So I can collect like 35-star Google reviews at an event. So just kind of double dipping. Okay. But it's a movie morning. This is the most expensive one. So you don't have to do that. Right. But a movie morning, I rent movie theaters. I check them in and then we're done. Then we go enjoy the movie with them. And then right as the movie's ending, I step out of the theater, as does my team. And we just greet people as they come out. Super easy, right? Super easy. So movie morning, all of this stuff, get a lender to at least pay half, right? Even if you've never worked with them before, just find someone who will. They will. Don't spend a lot of money. This one, for me, now we have 156 seats that we buy. It's $2,200. I pay half. It's $1,100 for me. Again, that's the most expensive thing we do. Not saying you got to go do that. I'm saying if you only had 50 people, it might cost you a few $100. Okay. Do that in March. In what's the next one? March, April, May, June. June is an ice cream social. I call a local ice cream shop. And I say from 11 to 1, we want to bring our people there. Can we do that? Of course you can. Cool. I'm going to give them tickets and we'll just settle up at the end. Awesome. What does that mean for me? I sit outside with ice cream, which is amazing. This is my kid's favorite event, side note, because they just get a bunch of ice cream. But I sit outside and I say hi to people as they come in. I hand them a ticket. They go and they get ice cream. They have fun with their family. They come outside. We talk, whatever. Whoops. Come outside. We talk. We hang out. We have fun. We have like 100 people every time. So that one in total was $800. For 100 people, it cost me $400. Again, not expensive. Stop spending so much money. Who doesn't want to go to an ice cream event in June? Okay, I'm just walking you through. Hopefully this helps. And we can do a call one day on more depth of events. Family photo event in September. We rent the pavilion at a local park. Costs $100. Literally did that yesterday for September. Have our photographer come, pay her $400 to take family photos, and we go get donuts and coffee. So again, costs about $800. Costs me maybe $400. And we're there for 2 hours. People come, they love this. They come, they get coffee and donuts. There's animals there at this park. They can go do that. They come get their family photo done. And then when their family photos are finished, we send it all out to everybody. And if they want, we'll print one out and put it in a $5 frame and go drop it off at their house. Right? So we're creating those memories for them. Super simple, super easy. Why is it easy? All I got to do is pick up the donuts, which is my favorite part. I show up at the park. My photographer does most of the work, and I just talk to people. I'm playing host. I'm here to talk to people. I'm not here to do anything else. Okay? And we do a holiday lights drive-through in December. I print off a map of the best Christmas lights in the area. They drive up to my house. We give them hot chocolate and candy and all kinds of fun stuff and a Mad Lib we created and just fun things and a list of the lights and say, thanks for coming. Go have fun. Right? We do that for 2 hours. And they drive through, they pick up their stuff, and they go on their merry way. We honestly keep trying to delete this event, but people keep coming. We're like, no one wants to do this. And then we had 40 cars show up this last December, and it was crazy. So easy, right? In total, what am I actually personally spending? Keep in mind, this is for my 270 person database. This is for Jesse's 200 person database. We have about 500 people that we're serving. I spend maybe 2,500 for the entire year's worth of events. That's it, right? And your database, you probably don't have 500 people. If you do individually, you shouldn't. You got to whittle that down. So if you have 100, you might be spending $700. That's not insignificant, but you can do that. You can figure that out, right? This is the best way for you to serve your people. We're talking about inexpensive ways. You're writing notes. You're dropping off $2 gifts. We're not talking about expensive things. We're saying, what do we need to do to just be in relationship with people? And then I can go into way more depth, but super, super fast because I know we're at time and I want to answer any questions. Here's the process, okay? I set up a landing page on my website for the event. And then there's a Google form that they RSVP on. Okay. We send email invites. And 3 to 1 weeks out, 1 week out. So 3 weeks out of the event, email, 2 weeks out, email, 1 week out, email. And then I do text invites. 2 weeks, 1 week, and then reminder text 2 days in advance. 2 days out. Okay. And for my text, I use an app called Hit 'em Up. Hit 'em Up. It's like a simpler way just to like send out auto text using their name. So in these months, I'm getting a ton of touches with people, right? Even the ones that don't come. Make sense? So here's the beauty of how everything works together. And then I'll answer any questions. One of the reasons people don't want to do calls or notes or texts or whatever is they're like, what am I going to say? You don't have anything to say for the video text? Hey, Dave, hope you're doing well. Man, I hope to see you at our next event on March 8th, the movie morning. Would love to see you guys and get to catch up, right? It's April. Hey, happy April. whatever. I hope you guys can make it out to our ice cream social, more info to come, right? Like I'm always inviting them to something. I'm always sharing information, or I'm always providing value. And it's easy because there's just stuff that's coming, right? At the event, man, they're going to come up and say, thank you so much for the birthday gift for my daughter. Like, you're so welcome. Right. And the other person's going to hear that, be like, oh, that's amazing. Garrett sent a birthday gift for their daughter. Right? Like, social proof is a real thing. This is the simplest thing you can do. It is the least expensive thing you can do. And it will result in the absolute best return. No one, I've been on multiple podcasts, and one of them was the guy that runs Lab Coat Agents. If you know what that is, it's a massive online Facebook community and social media hardcore. And we're doing the interview, and I'm talking about this system. And he says, Garrett, I got to admit, I'm paraphrasing, because I got to admit, I'm the social media guy, but this is absolutely the best way to build your business. Now, I think you should use social media too, but this is 100% the best way, right? Everyone knows this is true. We just aren't consistent on it. This is easy. This is simple. We're talking about at most 30 to 40 hours in a whole month. I know that feels like a lot, because maybe if you're doing 0 right now, 30 is a lot. But this is easy. This is simple. Just do it. Put it in your calendar, mark it down already, and then boom, you're good. Just show up and execute. Show up and execute. The only thing that's going to require you to pre-plan right now is to figure out when you want to do events and get them scheduled. Okay. Now, money prohibits. There's all kinds of I get it. I'm not saying this is simple or easy all the time. What I am saying is this is worth doing, and you will spend so much less money here than you will anywhere else. But let's say you're struggling with the cash flow or whatever. And that, again, that's okay. We'll talk about that one day. You're struggling with the cash flow. Fine. Then don't do mailers. Just start writing a bunch of notes. Maybe go buy a bunch of Popeye gifts. And you're like, you know what? I have way more time than I have money. Then go get a bunch of chapsticks and come up with something clever and just drop by and say, I wanted to see you and I needed an excuse. How you doing? Right? Do something. Get engaged with your people. And then when you can become systematic about it and follow this plan. It's really easy. It's simple, and just go do it. Any questions, any comments, sorry, we're a few minutes over. Hopefully that gives you a good overview. And we can go into depth at any point. But questions, comments, concerns, anything. Unmute yourself and go for it. Go, Steve.
Garrett, is there any reason that you wouldn't use what's it called, knock them down or hit them up?
Oh, hit them up. Yeah.
For your monthly text messages?
Yeah, good question. I don't think you can attach a video. I think that's why. And you can't text them together. So if it's a couple, I'd like to do a text with both of them on there. And so with hit them up, you can only do one person at a time. So I'd prefer to do it together. But yeah, good question. I don't actually know if you can send a video, but I don't want to automate, everything. I like that in those months where all I'm doing is video text. It might take me 6 hours for the entire month that I just sit there and I'm thinking about each person as I send it, because something might pop in my head, be like, oh, by the way, how's this? But that would be my only answer. I don't know beyond that. Good question, Steve. Jezra, go ahead.
Oh, I'm good. Just thank you very much.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome.
Very helpful.
Yep. Anybody else? I got time for one more. Any other questions? Hopefully that was helpful. Cool. I'm going to post the replay at some point today. And so if you need to go back through, you can, or if you guys want me, I can post this, what I just wrote. I can post this in the community. Would that help? Just like,
yeah, do that.
This PDF or whatever. Yeah. Okay. I'll do that. So cool. Let me pray and we'll get out of here. Heavenly Father, I pray that above all, Lord, we, by being more excellent in following a system like this, Lord, that we would be more consistently showing the people in our lives that we truly love them. And God, that we wouldn't love them because we want them to give us business. We love them because that's what you've called us to do, God. But by being diligent in this, you would bless the business, Lord. You would bless the growth of the number of people that come to us to help, Lord. That you would bless the work that we do. You would help us get these deals to the finish line. You would help us to honor and love the people, that we would serve them well as we have the opportunity. God, and that agents around us would say, hey, how are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And we would say, here's a really simple way to do it. And I do it because Christ loved me first, and I want to love others. Lord, that you'd open doors for the gospel as well. Thank you for everybody on this call and anybody who didn't make it. Lord, I pray that they'd be blessed through this time that we had. In your son's name we pray. Amen. Love you guys. Have a great rest of your day. And as always,
Thanks,
reach out
Garrett.
if you need something. See y'all.